And here we have the interviews. We interviewed all of the cast and crew that we could round up um, this year because last time we didn't get a chance to do that. We had a little segment with the directors and myself, but this time we felt that everybody that we could have come down here, get interviewed, be on the DVD, and discuss what they felt was the best and worst parts of this project. And I hope you enjoy listening to them as much as I did.
Alright, what was my experience like working on The Breakfast Club? Weird. Funny. I mean, like, being a part of, I guess, like a real film set was cool. Especially, like, trying to get through all the learning curves and stuff. But, like, you know, the actors made it kind of difficult because they were all princesses and divas. Especially Donnie. Donnie was the worst to work with. And I mean, James here was my my boom operator apprentice, so you know it was nice to have some. It was nice to have a team. It was nice to have a team to work with.
I was just kind of, I did some hair. I did Emma's hair every week. I went and got food with Sam, and then also operated cameras. So I kind of got to do everything. It was a lot of fun. We got to know everybody really well.
Being a boom maker, man, was real fun. Great experience. Worked out the triceps. It's a lot of fun.
I got to do the makeup, which was a lot of fun because I got to get to know all the actors.
All right, well, my experience with Breakfast Club this year was absolutely incredible. I've had a blast for 2 years being a part of the SWC Film Club and doing Psycho and Breakfast Club. And it's just great to be so dedicated to something and to have just such a great team a part of it. And I loved every minute of it, and I'm happy with everything that we did, and I know that this club has great things ahead of it. So overall, amazing experience and all about the high school memories, and I don't regret any of it. It's fantastic.
I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry. I'm not cry.
Well, the experience was great. I mean, doing all of it, and this was the first, if you could call it, extracurricular that I ever did. And it's probably the only one I'll ever do. But no, it's a great thing to do and to get into, and fun to do the whole time.
Wait, I thought you were in the knitting club. Was it my turn?
Sure.
Yes, it
Oh,
is.
okay. Well, I mean, obviously I had an amazing experience with it, just like I did the first year that we made a movie. It's really cool seeing how things can change over the course of a year, how everything, like, in the next year was like bigger production, and like everything just went really quickly, and we managed to put out an awesome movie. So yeah, awesome experience on my end.
The experience was great because at first, I mean, through the entirety of filming, it was like, are we actually gonna get this done? Is this actually gonna happen? And it was like a panic, like the entire time. But it was fun. It was amazing. And then when we actually premiered it, it was like the best feeling ever. It was so nice, and to actually see all the hard work that we had put into it up on the big screen, it was incredible. So, yeah.
The breath of relief that we all had.
Yeah.
When we
Yeah.
thought- I feel like
Yeah.
our constant answer for "Are we going to get this done?" was no.
No.
We're not going to get
Not
this
gonna
done.
happen, no. And I think too, like, because at the beginning, like, not all of us really knew each other that well, but by the end of it, we were kind of like, I don't know, like a weird dysfunctional family of some sort.
I had
So
no
that's
idea who this
cool.
kid was, and I saw him in the costume, and I was like, "Who's this punk?" And then I said, "Oh wait, no, he's in costume."
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Jared, you can press the button.
You can.
Hi, my name is Michaela. I played Allison in The Breakfast Club. Allison was a very interesting character to play because parts of her reflected my own personality. She was kind of quiet in the beginning. She was starting to kind of get used to the rest of the characters. And then she opened up. She started by introducing herself as an nymphomaniac, which, I mean, personally, that's not how I would introduce myself to anyone, but kind of adds this air to her character. She's a bit strange, and she doesn't really fit in with the rest of them, but she still finds her way to feel wanted with them and to
connect?
No idea, yeah.
Kind of connect with them?
And how to connect with the rest of the characters.
Want me to go first?
Don is one.
No,
He just thought of a story now.
What's the story?
Donovan
What
is
is it?
the
join.
I just called him Donovan.
Yeah.
How he joined.
Oh,
thank you very much.
You should bring that up.
Yeah.
What?
How he joined.
Peter picked up the boom mic and all of a sudden someone's like, boom
His
guy.
triceps just exploded, and then he just kept going.
No, the first day he was there, he had to rip out the stitches on the jean
Yeah.
jacket.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And then we said put him on boom mic.
I heard you whisper, who is that?
That's the boom guy.
That's my friend.
No.
Yeah.
And then, like, you told me your name is James, and
Franco.
I was like, oh, we're making a movie and his name is James. I'm just gonna call him Franco.
And then nobody
And
knew
then
your
no
name
one
was
knew your name
James
was
for
Franco.
the rest of
And
the
then
day.
he was Ross Sun God.
That's right.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay, so SWC Film Studios, why it's
The film club is very important to have, and I think that more high schools, universities, elementary schools should do something at least similar to it, because it showcases what young adults can do, and it proves that we have talents that should be showcased. It helps, I find myself, and what I've seen is everyone else find who they really are, and it helps show who they can be and what kind of person they're going to develop into later years in their lives.
Okay, somebody go.
Well, I think that the whole club's important because it's just so unique in how it is compared to other Surwiston clubs or any high school club for that matter. It's something you don't hear about. It's something that's never, in my mind, has been done before, and I thought that it sort of puts Surwiston on the map, kind of, and it's something for those that are wanting to get involved. This is something so different, and it's not an athletic thing. It's not like you're just generic club. This is something unique and very special, and I thought that that's how SWC Film Studios will continue to be here at Surwiston.
I think, like, through the whole thing, we were told this isn't gonna happen, and at the beginning it's like, why are you doing this? But I think it's important to prove those certain people wrong, and to show that there is talent and there is the students can do great things, no matter how young they are, no matter what their reputation is, and so I think that's why it's important.
Well, it's a club about basically dedication to what you want to do. I mean, if you don't show up to some other clubs that the school has, they'll continue on with a normal day. But if you don't show up, then we need another cameraman or another actor, and you have to let people know. So it basically requires you to have ultimate dedication to this strange group.
Yeah, totally. No.
I think that the Breakfast Club was probably one of my favorite experiences of high school. The cast and crew were absolutely amazing. I think one of the best parts was that everyone in the cast, their own personal selves reflected the characters, and you'd think that that wouldn't really work out when we're all trying to make a movie together, but it ended up just creating this wonderful atmosphere that when we were together, it was like nothing else. We were a family, and I couldn't have asked for anyone better to work with. The crew, they were always there. I know sometimes I'm sure it got hard for them because it can be divas or whatever, but they were always there doing their jobs, getting things ready for us, closing up during the night, and it was just absolutely amazing. I loved those people.
That's what you want to do. You can pursue that, and that if you're big into acting, there's something in there for you. If you like directing or anything like that. And at the end of the day, we produce this film, or if you want to do makeup, you can definitely get into that too. And then at the end of the day, you have this awesome film that you've made, and that's something that you can give to the students who didn't take part in the club, but they're still experiencing it in a sense.
Go ahead.
Okay, my absolute favorite story from the Breakfast Club is when we had to do the scene where Allison throws the meat back and it sticks to a statue. So in our library we have this poster of Shaq reading a book, So we decided that we were going to stick the meat to Shaq's face. So I had to actually lick the meat and then toss it back, and that took, I don't know, like 5 to 10 tries probably. And then so finally it sticks. We ended up leaving the meat there for, I don't know, 3 weeks to a month, and we check on it every Friday. It got really nasty after a while, and suddenly the meat had disappeared. So that is probably the best story from the Breakfast Club.
What's
The
second one is
So one of my favorite stories from the production for this film this year was there was a scene where Brian and Claire and Bender were consuming some illegal substances, I should say. And
Now it's not going to make it to air.
but it's a part of the film. But so I didn't know what I was doing at all. I'll be honest. So
Not that we did.
so
No,
I'm not saying that at all. So I'm just
Never.
saying that I was very confused, and I lost count of how many times I got hit in the face during this scene. And if you guys want to go back and watch the movie again, you can see that when the Bender's glasses fly off my face as Bender hits me. Not did that hurt a lot, but the glasses get destroyed as they bounce off my face on the ground, and my leg hit it or something, and then they just
So
exploded.
if you watch the rest of that movie, the glasses are duct taped on both sides.
Yes.
I think that was one of my favorite parts in the editing process was just going to those clips.
Yeah.
Because they filmed it so many times. And they were just like cycling through it and like going back and like going through it again.
Yeah.
Like,
I just pause it right when the hand is in my face, basically.
exactly.
Oh my god. So that was so much fun.
I think SWC Film Studios is important to Sorensen because it gives us a sense of community and it kind of brings us together. We, compared to a lot of other schools, have quite a bigger Comtech department. We got a lot more kids that are into filming, photography, audio visuals, and that kind of thing. And so that really brings us together as a school, and it's a student project that really we can all kind of talk about during other classes, and it brings us together.
Oh my god. Do you remember the sushi that we had?
Yeah.
And like, okay, so Ben Albers, shout out to Ben Albers, his dad made this huge like tray of sushi for our what was it for? For the legacy. And there was so much of it, and I remember there was a lot of wasabi, so I like doused one in wasabi, and I was like, somebody should eat this, and you were like, I'll do it, and then your face when you were eating that, oh my god, it was so funny, yeah.
Like, we have to take a half-hour break because John's
Yeah.
face is red as volcano.
And then we had this like, what was it? What is that called? The sun god thing. It's called
The
reflector. We had a reflectors. We had
Gotta get the arcade fires.
we had this reflector thing, and on one side it's white and the other side is gold. And James, who nobody knew, like at the beginning of this, so he was on boom mic and then he was on reflector too. And on the other side, one time he just held it up, but the way he held it up, he it was like
Epic.
It was
You
like
could have watched this in slow motion.
And we
You
were
would've
like, everybody was dying and stuff for the rest of the time. He was called Ra the Sun God, and it was just, oh my god.
You know what I never got to do with that reflector? I always wanted to like take it outside like the football field, just like have a big game of frisbee. Yeah, because it's the perfect. Like,
It's massive,
you could
too.
Throw it and it could like land in the yard like across from the school, like on someone's patio.
Why do you think it worked so well? Like we had Psycho where Psycho worked, but we kept pretty much what was working we kept and what wasn't working we got rid of. This time around, we didn't. People who made Psycho remember that it was a lot different than this year, so
Yes.
they can tell us about like what made it work compared to that. But for the people who weren't on Psycho, what made it work for you so much, since no one knew each other? There was very little of people who actually hung out with each other before. What made it different?
Well, like, I don't want to mean anything by this, but I mean,
Go.
we all fit into our roles fairly easily for whatever reason. So it was very easy to accomplish. I mean, obviously, right at the beginning, you know, first take, it's awkward, but it's supposed to be awkward, and it works with the movie because even in the movie, they're all meeting and having to deal with each other for the first time. So that's basically why that all worked out.
I think everybody had a little bit or a lot of their character inside of them, and so it was easier to portray it that way. And I think too, like, our personalities, like in real life, like in general, we all kind of balanced each other out. Like we'd rein people back in and, you know, push them, and it was easier to build up a repertoire all within the cast. I think that, yeah, that worked really well.
All these old things that I used to ride 5 miles, walk that, you know, I didn't even need a bus, you know, through the blizzard. And so no one cares. We want to know now, what can these kids do to make themselves better?
I think it also teaches us that, well, we didn't really know what we were doing when we made Psycho, and it was all a big learning curve, so it kind of shows you that you can really do what you put your mind to. So after we made Psycho, and we were like, that was decent.
You know, they don't normally edit, all of a sudden they're in here learning how to edit so that they can do it. They came in the morning.
I've had to crouch down and like film a lot, and it's been a fun experience.
That's something that reminds me of when Jess, Donovan, and I are in the catwalk trying to film Donovan in the room. And yeah, and then we had to yell, and then it was like, okay, now let's get out of here. And we ran off. Any other stories?
I just had one. Lost.
There's when we were editing and Michaela fell asleep on the floor, so we dressed her up in a bunch of stuff as she was sleeping and took pictures of her.
Yeah, I've had a lot of fun editing. I think we have some stories there. Donovan, when we did the 24-hour edit-a-thon or edit build, he made like a little shack in the little
in the
desk right there,
SWC TV.
and he like SWC TV desk, and he went under there and he had like his bag of Doritos, and he had like a
So little does
blanket.
anybody know that when they do SWC TV, they've sat in the place where Donovan's den was.
Yeah, he's sitting there eating Dorito chips, and he's like, oh, just don't bother me, guys. And he got up for some reason. I don't know what he was doing, to go to the bathroom or something. I'm like, Donovan, you want to come out edit? No. And then he went back and shriveled back up.
Because
in
it wasn't
his
even that he said no. It was the fact that he got up, walked towards us very slowly, dragged his blanket with him, or jacket, I forget which.
Yeah.
I think his jacket was his blanket at one point. And then he's just staring at us, like as if, why are we up? And then was asked that. He's like, no. And walks back, and we never saw him.
I don't know, if I were to share a story, probably be about our terrifying cameraman who's working right now. If you see him in the credits, Jared Worthington. One of the ones I'm willing to share is during the lunch scene when I go over and I sit down next to Brian, the nerd, and I'm going through his lunch, and without even looking, he goes to reach and I slap his hand. And it's a great scene. It went out. It was filmed great.
We timed it really good.
Yeah, we did. And right after it, everyone's cut. It's all quiet, and all you can hear is Jared from behind the camera. I like that slap. I like that slap.
Okay, Jared, there was this scene that we had.
Or Yared, we call it.
Yared. I coined that. Just saying.
Yep.
We were in a closet, and it was a kind of an intimate scene of sorts, and Jared's behind the camera, and it wasn't even his shot, I don't think. I think it was Jess and Cal's shot. But he was there, and so I go to kiss Donovan on the neck, and all you hear from behind the camera, he's like, oh, I like that. And then we cut, and like we're already super. This was like the first like intimate thing we had to do together, and we were so like I was so nervous. You're probably I don't know. But anyways, and then Jared's like, do it again, but slower. A little bit slower this time. So I did it again. He's like, that was nice, but just a little bit slower. We're like, Jared, this isn't even your shot. Why are you here?
Jared's so massive.
And Jared's like, if you watch the clips back, he's back like he's laughing and he's having the best day of his life. And he's like, guys, just do it and do it again.
Just keep doing it. Over and
We'll get it right sooner or later.
I want them to learn and so they can do it on their own. And then when they go off on their own, they can do stuff like this. And even if it's not film, it's something other than that they care about. And too often we forget that.
Line. Whenever the group needed to shut up very quickly because everyone was rowdy all the time, the group that we were, I would have to loudly shout quiet on the set,
How'd
and
you do it, Mitchell?
that I don't know if the volume levels can handle.
Well, that happened with my yell too. The volume
Yeah.
was kind of messed up.
There's an echo with that yell too.
But yeah, that would usually be effective for getting people to quiet down, and it just kind of stuck from there from the first day.
Quick side story too. Eric's wipeout.
Oh!
Because we were just like, okay, Eric, we just want you to fall
Just
off.
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
fall, and you go boom, boom, boom,
And
boom,
the
boom,
last
boom.
thing you see in that shot is his feet just
Yeah.
sweeping out.
We had to stay quiet during the scene, but I looked around because the camera wasn't
We were
on.
like,
I
I
could
was
see the
exploding.
smiles on
Oh my
everybody's
God.
face.
Oh, it was perfect.
Oh my god, yeah.
Those
That
are
was
the
amazing.
best parts of the movie, just when it whoop.
Yeah. Oh man.
Oh, and the one thing that still frustrates me is how long it took us to get that one scene down, where I'm like staring at you.
Oh, you're
What
right in
scene
my
was it?
face?
Yeah.
I got you, Bender.
I got
Oh my god, the
for 2
closet
months.
scene.
2
The
months.
closet
This
scene.
is
I
the
got
hand
you.
motion that inspired
Yeah.
us to do the movie.
Oh,
I
gosh.
see.
For 2 months.
And then
I
either
got
I
you.
would start laughing or you would
I
start
would start
grinning.
pissing myself.
Oh,
and
that
then I'd
took
start
so. I do
laughing.
It took a
remember that.
lot of
Yeah.
tries.
Yeah.
Oh, and then when there's a scene where Eric and Donovan, Eric has to kind of like wrestle him down.
Oh, that was.
Wrestle him down on top of a table. And like, there's this line, and Mitchell says, because he's asking for a screw or something, and he's like, "Give it to me, Bender." And so then Eric puts Donovan down on the table, pins him down, like Eric's
Yeah.
right over top of Donovan,
I
and
can't
then
believe-
I was like, "This is perfect," and I'm like, "Give it to me, Bender." And like, oh my God, Eric's face, he was traumatized. He was like, "What?" Oh my
Whoa!
God.
That was such a. Oh, it was so suggestive because like I had to like struggle with my feet and everything.
You said Eric, and that reminded me of the one blooper that we had, where Michaela is talking about Brian. He's like, "Your social security number is blank, blank,
Oh, yeah.
blank, blank,
Yeah.
blank, blank, 4."
Yeah.
And then he's like, he was supposed to say, "Wow, are you psychic?"
Are you?
Oh yeah. And then he's like, "Are you a wizard?" And then you just hear Michaela say, "I am a wizard." Well, we have to have that in the blooper reel. We definitely do that, but just
There are many funny lines like that.
Oh, yeah.
And for the one where I suggest that I was with Claire, and that Donovan and Bender kind of like sells me out on it.
Oh, yeah.
So I go for some reason I'm supposed to,
oh, I know
to
where you're
shout
going with this one. Yeah.
that he's lying, or is it she's lying? He's lying.
He's like.
She's like,
She's lying.
no, he's lying.
He's lying. Yeah,
He's
he's
lying.
lying. And I don't know. I had some inner like Shakespearean just build up in me, and the first couple times I did, I was just like, he's lying.
No, but like what you did, you were like, "He's lying."
Like you were talking, like she didn't understand, like
Yeah.
English
Yeah.
at all.
You're so
Because
stupid.
the first time it was like you just said he's lying, and then
Yeah,
All right, everyone,
do
slow
more.
it down.
yeah, you want to draw it out a little more. But that time you were just like she was just staring at you blank face like that, and you're just like he's lying.
Oh, man.
Too many good times.
And then the one time in the closet when I put on my earrings, do you remember that? And I was walking up to you, and then I was like,
Oh my
And
god, you scared the shit out of me. She stops like inches away from my face, and I'm like, wait, what? What's wrong? What's happening? She's like, my earrings.
You were expecting like
I was expecting you to like kill me because you looked so petrified because it was like important, right? I was, oh my god. Oh yeah, that was
it's like
funny.
oh your face is melting. That's what he was expecting. I forgot my earring. What are you talking about?
Oh man, yeah. Okay, I think that's good.
Yeah.
Good.
Character driven, and it's going to be human. It's going to be about people, because we're not going to make $100 million blockbuster every year. It's going to be about down to earth. Yeah, maybe I don't know. But, but I know that for this year it was very human. It was very just the whole story of the Breakfast Club is very relatable. I think that's why people love the movie and why we had such a great turnout and why people enjoyed this film maybe more than the past year. So it's always going to be about the people and the characters.
And I think too, we really got into it, like, for example, like the emotional scene, that took so long to
I'm
film.
glad I wasn't involved.
No, it took so long, but like, and the first couple times we did it, it was, nobody really knew their lines because it was so much that we had to get through. But by the time we actually finished it, like, everybody was, like, I was in tears, you were in tears, like, you were yelling, like, it was really, like, everybody was on high alert that day, and it was cool because, like, I don't know, you can really, like Justin said, you can relate to the characters, so that's what made it so easy to get into that.
Yeah, I like what you guys said about casting. Like, the casting was really well done, obviously, and I think that helps with like getting to know the cast too, because you understand that, like, oh, this person was cast for this part because they're like the character in some ways, so it's easier to connect with that person because you already kind of understand what their personality's like.
And there's no doubt in my mind that I think as the years go by, it will keep getting better and better, because this whole club is just learning more, and they want to always one-up themselves. And I feel like that was the goal for this year with Breakfast Club. And we're very proud of Psycho, of course. We love Psycho to death, but we know that this has more quality to it, and there was more dedication and hard work, and I think it completely paid off. So
yeah, it was helpful having a lot of people on the cast, well, on the crew, who had worked on Psycho the previous year, because then they can foresee the problems that are going to arise with this movie, with like making this movie, and they can avert them beforehand because they already know what's going to happen as the year progresses.
And last thing is, what did you really think of your bosses of McClellan twins, Jared, and Mr. Nickel?
Ooh, Nickel, you're asking for.
Yeah.
Well,
Nickel,
now that I don't go to the school anymore.
But you know what I mean, like,
yeah.
what was, I have to leave the room?
Not actually.
Oh my.
We don't want you to see this till after.
The McClellan twins are freaky because they're awesome. They're so awesome. But it's like, they're twins, and they're like, I don't know.
To watch
It's
someone
like-
work with
Yeah, it's so
It's
intricate, and like Jess will be thinking something, and then Cal will say what Jess is
Oh,
thinking,
yeah.
and he's like, yeah, and then we're like, wait,
Like,
you don't share the same brain though. Like, how does that work? So that was, and they balance each other out. Like, they have like different pieces of personality that like the other
two
doesn't
jigsaw
have,
pieces.
Yeah.
and like it really works. And
I
I
thought-
wish them the best because they're awesome, and I just, yeah.
I thought you were going to say that it was confusing because Mr. Nickel would be like, okay, follow Jess. Follow Jess.
I still don't know which one's which.
No, Jess is the
Don
one with
will
like the
never
shorter
know
hair,
which
and Cal
one
is
is
the one with like the curlier hair.
Yeah,
And the fact that Cal got those like Harry Potter really cool looking glasses helped so much. So yeah.
never change those glasses. Cal.
No,
That's
no.
Never, ever.
Well, I mean, for Mr. Nickel and for Jared and for all the twins, and really just like, all the directors, they were all leaders. They knew, they were so prepared. That was probably, you know what, now that I think about it, that's one of the biggest things that we took from Psycho.
Yeah.
We went into a scene, and I would see the twins have pages of stuff that they had.
Yeah,
I think
they're
it was
so organized.
They just had like a
They,
little agenda he would bring to every issue.
Yeah.
Everyone was so organized, so prepared, and they led us perfectly. They told us what to do, and we just bounced off them, and they knew exactly how they wanted this picture to go. And so they did a great job through every process, I think, and it was fantastic.
You also have to get used to seeing Mr. Nickel outside of school when he switches
That's a
personas.
terrific Mr. Nickel.
Oh yeah, I mean I know that he probably yells at the football team, but like you can see Nickel get pissed.
No, he only yells at the film studio club, but the football team is like, all right, guys.
Yeah.
All right, come on. You can do this. That's why
Try your
you make it
hardest.
so great.
No, but it was kind of cool too because in the beginning, like Mr. Nickel had a lot to say a lot of the time for obvious
That's
reasons.
normal.
Because we were because we were just getting started and it was new and like for myself and other people, for you who hadn't worked on anything previous, it helped. But then kind of towards the end of the thing, it was mostly just Jess and Cal and Jared, and they would like they would take the lead and we would just follow, and Mr. Nickel would kind of stand back and say what he needed to say if he needed to say it, but it wasn't like, it was by the end of it, it was a student-made film. It was like there was no
Outside
staff, and I mean he was always there.
and really challenge ourselves with different aspects. Because there would be that famous line that we'd always say is, "Oh, it's in black and white. That's all right. You know, you can just cover it up. You know, it's always good in black and white. It doesn't even matter. Sound problem, black and white. It's fine."
Oh man, I forget what I was gonna say. Oh, never mind, it's there again. Yeah, I like what Justin said about how like the twins, like they were always so organized and had everything prepared
So was Jared.
from the get-go.
Jared?
Jared as well. No, I'm not gonna leave out Jared. Obviously, Jared was equally as prepared and like very organized, very experienced guys. And Mr. Nickel was always there to like if people were slacking and stuff like that, because there were instances where like we'd be kind of falling off the rails or
Create the
tearing apart the
giggles.
scene. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Lot
then
of
Mr.
giggles.
Nickel would be there to say, "Hey guys, we have this much time to make a movie. We need to get our stuff together." So, but yeah, I mean, and I think that came with the experience of like, working on Psycho last year. Like I was saying earlier, they know where all the pitfalls are going to come in, and they know how to deal with them when they do arise.
This film would be nothing.
Nothing.
As what it is without our leaders. Like that.
Not at all.
It's recording.
So, first question is,
You could do it, Jared.
Do you want me to do it?
yeah,
Okay.
favorite memories? No,
No, that was the last one.
last one.
Spoilers.
Why was making this movie or the club itself important?
Just to us individually here.
Yeah, it's up to you. Yeah.
Anyone want to go first?
Well, we kind of already said
We already
stuff,
said
so.
so you
Okay.
go.
Well, to me, it was important to me because I need to like learn what it's like to have a group to try to keep together to make something big. Like, it's easy for just teachers to give you an assignment like this in class or something. You just got to do it for marks. But this wasn't for marks or anything. This was for ourselves, right?
Yeah.
And to me, that was one of the most important things last year for me. It was making something that was mine, and with my fellow peers, it's something we could be proud of to make. So it was important to me just to do it, just see if I could do it.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, and it wasn't just about making a movie. It was learning every aspect in the creation process of the film, gaining connections with people, working together as a group, and in the end, it's just, the payoff is just, it's amazing because you go through all the struggles of it, and it's important that we went through that to fully look at the film and be like, you know what, we went through this, but here's the final product, and I'm very proud of it. And if we were to just go through it, we just need to make this movie. If it wasn't about the process and getting to that point, that it wouldn't have felt as good to be finished with it. So.
I like Jess's point that it wasn't about, it wasn't like an assignment for us, that it was something that we wanted to do. So we knew that we were going to try and strive for the best, and that we would really try and make it our own and like make it a really good film, as opposed to a film that would be critiqued by someone else and have what someone else wanted. It was all about what we wanted, and it would be as good as we wanted.
We knew going into this that there was going to be problems.
Yeah.
There were going to be issues. We did Psycho last year, and we knew that there was a lot of stuff. We were hoping that from what we learned from Psycho would be a lot smoother, which it was, but there was still a lot of big issues here and there. But we knew that going in. So,
Yeah, the original thing with Psycho was can we physically do it? And then the second time around was, okay, now that we know we can do it,
Let's
what
make
can-
it better,
what else can
yeah.
we do?
And how
What
can we
how
improve?
can we push ourselves? So
Yeah.
really the studio is really, the medium is movies, but really it's about pushing yourself into something that you know is hard to do for adults over years, and try to do it all within 1 year and still come out with something pretty amazing. So,
yeah.
The second thing is what was it like working with each other in terms of directors, myself, and the actors and the crew? What was it like?
Just start off with directors. We all knew each other from last year.
Yeah.
By the end, when we all came on that in the parking lot, I think you're like,
Yeah.
you three want to be the directors? Like, we were the ones that
that really were passionate about it and wanted to stick to making something. So we all had a common goal of making something. So the fact that we all want to do that just kind of made it easier to work together.
Yeah.
And yeah, we all worked together, I think, fairly well. And then with the actors were really good. Like
They were great. to
compared
work
from last year we had really good actors for Psycho as well. But this year, like, the talent was just, it was above our expectations, really. So.
I think it helped that we worked together on Psycho, and then when we came here, we knew what each of our kind of roles were and where we all fit. Like, we knew that Jess was always the guy in the studio for classes, so we always knew to go to him for equipment, and we kind of knew like how we kind of roll off of each other, who was going to do what scene, and what everyone's strengths were. So that was really easy. And then working with the cast, we had stellar actors this year, so that was a breeze. And we kind of taught ourselves through Psycho, and so it was great to have us to teach the new kids how to use all the equipment. We really we worked well together with that as well, I felt.
Yeah, it was important that we were able to, as directors, work together and remain focused and get the goal, our goals achieved for filming. So we were able to show the new group members how to use the cameras, what they can do to do really neat shots and stuff like that. And if we weren't able to work together as directors, it wouldn't have gotten past that first step. For sure.
The big comment from the actors was how organized the three of you are and how professional the three of you were. And they were really happy with their experience. Is there any last comment you'd want to give them?
Apologize for being kind of a hard ass at times because I know I was that a lot. So, but you know.
I think that was where the professionalism came in. Though.
Yeah.
So, like when it was time to get down to the crunch, we all got down to the crunch.
Just shut up, everyone. Just do this.
Fooling around, yeah.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean we didn't have fun with it all.
No,
so.
Of course not.
I think that people had fun because of how well you all worked together. Crew, actors, and directors all seemed to really get along and work well together. Whereas if we had other people, maybe that wouldn't have been as fluent and as easy as it was. Because it was pretty easy. Even when they go off the rails a little bit because they're laughing, little things that are happening, it was not hard to bring them back in focus, I thought.
Yeah, just comparing back to Psycho. Psycho, we had a whole bunch of directors that we thought would work out, which it kind of did. A lot of people left and all that, we know. But we had a lot of fun last year doing Psycho, a lot of stress and all that, just the same as this year. But I feel that we weren't as organized last year. We had a lot of fun still, but you know, if we had that little bit more of extra organization, it would have been.
We found out what worked and what didn't, and we scrapped what didn't and kept what did, and it just seemed to work a lot better. What was one of your favorite moments of the Breakfast Club?
Don't get those confused.
Yeah, because those are moments in and of itself.
Yeah.
I have to think of what I said now. The last.
Just say whatever.
It's difficult because a lot of stuff happened.
Favorite moments.
Mine is not really a moment. It's just looking and seeing the difference between when I first started the project in Psycho, and then even then when we first started the Breakfast Club, I thought, well, I have to say and I have to take on a lot of stuff. And little by little, it got to the point where I didn't really have to do much at all. All I had to do is help you guys reaffirm your own ideas. So it was pretty much me feeling good that the project worked, because that was the whole reason why I did this. Was we went from a club where people, 3-4 people didn't even know how to turn the camera on, to pushing people to something that they wanted to do. Like, no one cared, like, no one was worried about what we were doing except for us, and then when we showed them that this could do it, they all of a sudden had faith in us. So then the second time around, I was like, that's great that they have faith in us, but it's still us doing it. And so the fact that you guys have grown so much since then, it hits home with what the project was supposed to be about, is prove people wrong, prove that this is capable of doing. You guys are capable of doing this. And I hope more people, when they join, do the same thing.
My favorite moments usually was when I was either helping someone with the camera and then they successfully got a good shot. Like if there was a good shot that someone got, I was always like laughs. And also just editing. I loved editing. Even though that was one of the most stressful times, just trying to cram it all into the editor. But yeah, I just love putting music in, just seeing it connect and how the shots work together. And finally, just I was sitting in the sound booth when the thing was shown to everyone and seeing their reactions. And teachers coming up saying good job to us.
Yeah, we had like
When they
500
leave,
people
I was
show up.
I was just like, it's done
It's done.
and it's good.
I loved casting because I didn't know who was gonna play what or how it was all gonna pan out. And we had one actor, we're like, oh yeah, she's gonna play this role for sure, and that's kind of why we're gonna do the Breakfast Club. And then we're like, wait, that person's better than her. So then we went with that person, and so it was really cool to see all the actors kind of come together, and you're like, well, who's gonna play what, and who's gonna reflect better off of other people. And then, so I love going from that one extreme from let's see how this movie is going to turn out to going all the way to post-production to editing where you're seeing everything come together and it's all like, man, this started off with just us picking a few people from those castings and now we've made this full movie from it. And that's pretty cool.
Like I have to say for myself, I enjoyed the whole process, seeing like from the small beginnings, seeing what actors we could do and planning, looking at the script, what we were planning to do for the film, and then seeing at the end in the auditorium. It's just that whole way getting there. That journey for that was just great. And if there was one scene that I could pick that I really enjoyed filming was the emotional scene. Because that was like a moment when all the actors were rather comfortable with each other and seeing them be actually to channel their talent in that scene, which was such an important scene in the film. Being able to direct that and see film that and then see that those connections, it was really good. Really enjoyed that.
Yeah, the idea is every one of you took on roles that were not necessarily designed for you because it was a necessity. So through being a director, you also became familiar with the equipment, which also then made you a cinematographer, which also made you an acting coach because you needed them to do something for you. You had to be an organizer to get everything going, to make sure, because it might not even have been your shot, but you were responsible for getting it going.
Yeah.
So, like, if you take those skills out there, that's exactly what you're going to have to do if you're a boss of any job. You're going to have to do all those things, and when you realize that you're the boss, you have to do things other than necessarily what somebody told you. Because if you want to have your name on it and be proud of it, you're going to have to step up, and all three of you stepped up, so it was really good to see.
Okay, so specific moments that we love, so stories.
Yeah.
Of any sort.
I really enjoyed when we were trying to get the dance scene, the montage scene. We were all dancing, and we had the music blasting in the library, and everyone was just doing their own thing, trying out things, especially trying to get Justin to do
dance,
some of his moves. If you watch the bloopers, it gets pretty funny.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed that.
I think I had some really good moments seeing the actors like do their thing and then joke around and laugh. I remember some good ones with Mitchell Glass. I would have him.
Just say your stories again.
I remember filming Mitchell Glass running down the hallway, and I don't know why I was doing it. I was running backwards without looking. I ran myself into a wall in garbage again. And Mitchell, I got it on film actually. Mitchell's like, oh, like, what, are you okay? I'm just like trying to walk it off. I'm like, yes, continue doing this.
And then from then on, the camera has a little bit of a lip to it. Walking shots.
That tripod has a lip.
Yeah. What tripod?
I remember the overnight.
Yeah.
The lovely overnight we spent editing. That was strangely after I didn't sleep the day after. I just stayed up all day.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah,
I made
it's like
burgers in the morning because I had nothing else to make. So
Yeah,
I was
just-
alone, so I just made burgers.
that night was I thought that was a very good night because we
We got a
achieved
lot
so much,
done.
and when the people that you wouldn't expect to like figure out the editing like that, they got it like that, and then you're like, okay, good. Can you do this? Yeah, did it. No, okay.
No, it was like we had a very good crew last year,
They were going faster than I could like put up a list of things that
Yeah.
needed to be done.
and we were knocking them down one by one. It was great.
It's like
We
I found this footage and I started editing it. I was like, oh great.
I think my favorite day, or one of my favorite days, was this day we had to film in the hallways, and there was a dance competition happening
All the
downstairs.
kids, yeah.
Yeah, and we're just running around and swearing and like,
I was not.
yeah, he was not, but
The
the
rest
others
were
He was
like,
very
the cast
calm.
was.
We
I was
weren't.
calm that day.
Yeah, the cast was going all
It
out.
was hectic.
And there's a shot that Jess had to film with Donovan, where Donovan screams as he's running down the hall, "I don't want to be an
I
airborne
remember that,
ranger."
yeah.
And he's screaming it as he is slamming lockers and making all this eruption, and there's all these kids downstairs just like wondering what
Donovan
that
has scarred people for
screaming,
life.
Yeah.
what the screaming was going on upstairs, and we're running in and out of these kids trying to communicate from the library to upstairs, and
Yeah.
it was lots of fun.
Mm-hmm.
I also found with the Breakfast Club, I got stuck with filming a lot of awkward scenes, a lot of tension, and 1 minute. So I felt that I did a lot of awkward scenes between Jonathan and Emma, where there was a lot of tension, and sorry, Jonathan just walked in. And anyways, there was one where they were in a closet, and it just the way it came, it took us a long time, and the way it came across.
Because you
on
told them to
camera.
keep going.
To keep going and kiss, because
And,
it wasn't
and they
getting the
wouldn't,
right
because
shots.
they were like, why?
And then
We've
there
already
was
done it
another one.
27 times.
And then there was another one outside, and I seem to always get stuck with these shots.
Stop. He wants.
He loves them.
And so, those are some of my favorite moments in the Breakfast Club.
Pretty much, when I said mine, that's pretty much the end of this. His final comments is, for me, it was, you guys changed so much since we first started this, and it was exactly what the point of this was. And I hope the people who are starting the next movie do the same. So, anything else? Leave it to you guys.
I'm gonna miss you.
I'm gonna miss all this. It was super fun.
Oh, time's up. We're on the clock.